Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me in today's show, and thanks for joining my session about intelligent enterprise integration with logic apps. Today, we will explore how to design modern intelligent integration solutions using AI, logic apps, and SAP. The focus is on automate business processes and more specifically, in our case today, order processing. But before we begin, a few words about me. My name is Sebastian, and I'm working as an architect for Quibic. Quibic is a Germany based company with strong focus on integration and AI solutions. Since 2008, I've been deeply involved in integration solutions, especially with BizTalk Server. And since 2024, I've been a Microsoft Azure MVP for integration platform as a service. And to be honest, I've always been a technology enthusiast. So I love discovering new solutions and making existing systems even smarter. Okay, so let's go over to the topic of today and let's see or talk about what can you expect from today's session. First of all, we will clarify what an AI agent actually is. After that, I will point out why logic apps are an excellent platform for such agents. And then we need to talk about whether workflows are always deterministic or if we need to rethink that. Maybe. Before we dive into our demo, I want to highlight your new superpower, prompting, and why prompting is a key to effectively using AI. And after that, of course, I'll show you everything live in a demo. So let's start over and see what an AI agent is. An AI agent is more than just a large language model. So it's a system that autonomously performs tasks based on goals, context, and data. It can make decisions, control processes, and adapt to changing conditions. And today, we can use such agents in the space of enterprise integrations as well. As you see in the displayed image here, we have a large language model that gets some input. Based on input and context, it is able to retrieve data from external data sources. That means you can expand the knowledge of your large language model without train and redeploy it. It can also connect to, or it can also connect and interact with the environment with tools. To say it in an easy way, tools are like arms and legs for agents. So, and the last thing is memory. It is to hold context information and the current state of the execution. With the knowledge of what an AI agent is, we need a way to build our own AI agents now. There are many possibilities out there, but I want to highlight why the use of logic apps is a good idea for building your AI agents. So, why it is a good idea? Because logic apps are enterprise ready. That means they are scalable, they are secure, and they are reliable. So, this is the most important part of enterprise ready software. In this case, of enterprise ready agents. Logic apps offer an operational experience or an operational excellence with monitoring, with logging, alerting, and retry mechanisms. So everything is completely integrated in that service without building for yourself. And what makes logic apps even more better or even a good choice for creating agents with that is its outstanding connectivity possibilities. Over 1400 plus connectors, which you can use to connect to Azure services or third-party systems like SAP, Dynamics, Salesforce, ServiceNow, and more, you name it. And Logic Apps is one of the few platforms where you can choose to build agents with pro code or with low code. That means pro developers and business users can collaborate even more better on agents. And they enable traceability and observability, which is very important. That means you have full transparency over processes and decisions what the AI agent is made during the execution time. So you have no black box. So traditionally, we think in fixed deterministic workflows. If A happens, then do B. If C and D happens, then do E, and so on. You all know it. Each case needs to be implemented, but reality is even more complex because business rules change constantly, data is often incomplete or ambitious, and decisions depend on context. That's why we need flexible, adaptive, and non static workflows, which obviously must also allow for non determinism. That doesn't mean that deterministic workflows are dead and it is old style to use deterministic workflow. It is more a mix of both. So you can use deterministic workflows and non-deterministic workflows to solve business problems. Because not everything needs to build as an agent. For example, create a business partner in SAP is always the same. So this can be deterministic. Makes no sense to build that in an agent way. That means you will have both deterministic and non-deterministic workflows. Okay, so a central element of intelligent integration is prompting. Prompting is the ability to express a problem in a way that an AI agent can understand and solve it. So, prompting is not just a technical tool, it's a new way of communicating with systems. And here is the important part of it. You need to practice it. I need to practice it. You need to practice it. Everyone needs to practice it because prompting is the hard part of building AI agents with logic apps. So there is a lot of experimentation you need to do before you'll get good value out of it. To highlight some very important concepts of prompting and how it works, I want to talk about a few of them. It is very important to specify clear instruction and you need to break down tasks into small chunks. You need to explain which tools are available and you need to give the AI agent an idea of how to use them. So all of this need to express in any way. Try to bring references and examples of good and bad data for, and because with all of these you can make the life of an AI agent much more easier, helping understand and solve complex business problems. As I mentioned earlier, prompting will be your new superpower. Trust me, it is. So, um, and I want to highlight why prompting is so powerful. Because if you can explain a business problem to a person, then you can also prompt it to an agent. That's the key. The ability to translate complex requirements into understandable, structured prompts. This makes AI not only accessible, but also super useful for your daily work. With all of this foundational knowledge, which was very high level, to be fair, let's jump over to our demo scenario. So, today, I want to show you an order process and how you can automate it and make it more intelligent, smarter with logic apps. We will use the agent loop, which is a template that allows building AI agents directly in logic apps, and we connect SAP as the backend system. You will see how an intelligent workflow is created that responds flexible to inputs. And the scenario I want to show you is displayed on this slide here. So the scenario is we have a business partner which sends us a flat file with order information, which needs to be integrated into our SAP system. And we need to meet some requirements and business policies that can be changed at any time. First of all, the flat file you see here contains one or more orders, and we need to process each order separately. So that means we need some kind of parser logic or disassembler logic here. And the second one, due to problems ordering raw materials, only an amount of one is allowed for each order item. So remember the pandemic, it's not that unrealistic scenario. And if if the amount is higher than one, then we need to loop in a human to approve or reject the order. And the last two things we need to care of is that each order needs to be archived. So this is at the left corner here. And each compliant or approved order needs to be transferred to our SAP system. And at the end, we need to send for each order an order response via email with all the details. That means order number, order amount, the item or material, and also the SAP reference, which comes back from the SAP system. So, and now with this scenario, let's get practical. And I'll show you how we can build this process with just a few clicks and some prompting magic, all in Logic Apps and all in low code. So let's jump over to the Azure portal. So let me switch over. So now we are in Azure portal, and here you can see my Logic App standard. And inside of this Logic App standard, I have my purchase order agent, which is here, the centerpiece of our integration here. So I will collapse that. So from here, we have an HTTP request. So that means our business partner sends the flat file via HTTP, and the content of the HTTP body will be the flat file. We will do that in a second. So after that, we will hand over the payload to our agent. So this is the agent loop. This is how it looks like in Logic Apps. And first of all, we need to specify the agent. So as you remember from the slide, the first thing the agent needs is a large language model. And this is exactly what we can define here. In our case here, our agent uses the GPT 4.1 large language model, which is hosted on an Azure OpenAI or in an AI Foundry environment. And then you can select the appropriate model which works for you. In this case, as I said, we use the GPT 4.1. And then the magic happens. So we need to define the prompt. So this is the second thing we need to give the agent to do the work. So that means in this case, the instructions for the agent and also the system instructions. And in the system instructions, you need to define your agents. You need to define the personalization of the agent. What is he doing? What can he not do? And so on. If you specify more, as I said, then the agent is more responsive to your task and can execute it very well in these cases. And there's another special thing here, and maybe you have seen it. The prompting here is in German, so you can choose your preferred language, and the agent is able to understand what you tell him here. So it's language agnostic. So that means another big advantage here is, and as I pointed out on my slide, the collaboration between business and developer is even more better here, because the business can specify a prompt and the IT guys or the developer guys can expand the prompt from the business with technical details. And with this approach, you will have a very good prompt to give to the agent. And so what you see here is the complete prompt. And what I explained the agent here is the instruction how to disassemble the file, because as you can see here, I will come back here in a second to explain the tools. We have no logic or no parser logic here, which disassemble our flat file. Normally, we need to create a pre-processing step where we are disassembling the flat file. But in our case, we can prompt it. And first of all, I will show you how the file looks like. So, and then I will explain how this file is being built. What you see here is the order file. So this is the flat file we will receive from our business partner. And inside of this flat file, you will see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 orders. So we have 8 orders, and these 8 orders needs to be processed separately, like the business requirements are are showing us. So this is the requirement we need to fulfill here. And now each order is built by following. Each order begins with T600, so that marks an order. And the next 10 characters here, that is the order number. After the order number, we have 2 characters, which is the order amount. And the rest of the line, this is the item the business partner want to purchase or want to order. And this is exactly the same for each line. And as I said, normally or usually we would create a parser or a disassemble stage where we disassemble the whole file, and then maybe we have 10 instances of a workflow. But with an AI agent, you do not need to do that in this case, because you can prompt it. And this is exactly what I've told you. And back to the slide, if you can tell the problem to a person, you can tell the problem to the AI agent here. And this is exactly what I've done here. I told the agent each order line starts with the T600, and the next 10 characters are the order number. And after order number, we have 2 characters with the order amount, and the rest of it is the position. So it's the item we want to order, or the business partner want to order from us. And then after that, I gave some instruction. So this is the list of instruction the agent needs to follow. And in this case, I tell the agent what to do with the file and how to use the tools you see on the left here. So let's go over to the tools and let me explain that our agent, so this is the arms and legs of the agent to interact with the environment. The first of all is our send email, because at the end of the workflow, we want to send an email with an order response for each email. And here you can see the power of Logic App. We can use the connectors, the 1400 plus connectors here, to create tools. The next tool is get approval. So when the amount is greater than 1, we need a human in the loop to reject or to approve our order. And this is exactly what we do here. We use the Teams connector and we post an adaptive card, and then we were waiting for a response from the business department. Next thing, or the next tool here, is the workflow which sends our data into the ERP system. So, and here is another good thing, or another big advantage. What we are doing here is we are reusing an existing workflow. So that means we have a deterministic workflow which takes data and brings it over to SAP. And you can reuse existing workflows as a tool inside of the AI agent. And this is great to have such a capability. So, and this is exactly the mix between non-deterministic and deterministic workflows here. And the last thing is we need a tool to save all our orders. So this is the archiving mechanism here. And this is exactly what you see with this tool here. So, and we are here using the storage container, the Azure storage account connector here to bring it over to a blob storage. And what I told you here is exactly what I've told the AI agent here, and the agent is able to call the tools. One important part is you should use a description in the instruction, and you should name your tools in a way as you described in the instruction. So that, as I said earlier, that makes the life of the AI agent much more easier to find the appropriate tool here and to make a decision which tool needs to be called to fulfill the instruction list. Okay, back to the agent. So as you can see, you have to practice and you have to experiment with prompting. So because you will not get the best output with your first try. So you need to specify, you need to adjust, you need to readjust the prompting and so on. That is the reason why I've told you need to practice prompting. So and the last part here, which is also without any code, is that we want to have the reference number. So when we are transferring the order into our SAP system, then we are getting a reference number back from the SAP system, and we want to have this reference number also in our email response. So that means we need to prompt it here that we want to have the order reference. And so here is an example of how it looks like, what comes back from our SAP system. So as I said earlier, it's a good idea to bring examples here, and then you can tell, or then you can specify in a more fine-grained way how this response should be processed in the execution of the agent here. So this is exactly what I've told here, and the prompt is exactly what the agent should do. And after that, to make the context complete for the agent, we need some user instructions here. And the user instruction, that is exactly what the business partner is sending us. This is the flat file, so the HTTP body here. Okay, now let's give it a test here, and then I want to simulate now the business partner, and we are using the run with payload blade here. So for this, we need to copy our payload, and then we will send this to our agent. So this is not a JSON, this is text plain, and this is our payload. And now we hit run. And from here, another excellent thing in Logic Apps, which is the run history. From here, you can see all the runs. And this is exactly where I pointed out that the traceability and the observability with Logic Apps is excellent here. So the operational excellence here is very good, because your agent is not a black box. You can see which tools are called and why the agent was running or decided to go this way. So you can see it exactly here in this chat experience or in this agent log. So you have a visual log for all your AI agent decisions, which is very good and very great. So, and I pointed out, and maybe you've seen it already, we have one order which is which has an amount of 2, and this is not allowed. It's, because our business policy said only an amount of 1 is capable, and if we have 2 or greater than 1, we need to loop in a human, and this is exactly what we've done here. And you can see from here, we've been notified via the Teams connector here, and now I can decide whether I want to approve this order or I want to decline it, or reject it. But in this case, I say, okay, that's okay. So now we approve this order, and then we can check this run here. So we hit refresh. So from here, we can also see that the emails are sent out, and we can also have a look that our ERP system, which was also called successfully here. And as I said, we are reusing an existing workflow, and let me show you that here. So here, this is our create sales order in SAP workflow. And from here, we can also check the run history. And as you can see, this thing was called from our AI agent, and this thing is then able to store the order inside of our SAP system. So I think we do not have to look at the storage account where the blob storage is created, but what we want to check now is if we received an email. And yes, we received an email from our agent, And as we prompted it, we want to have an HTML email in a table. So this is not coded. This is without logic. This is only prompting. And the agent builds us an email with the order number, the order amount, the position, and also the order reference, which comes from the SAP system. And this order reference now we can check against our SAP system. So let me switch over to the SAP system right now. And here we have the transaction VA03. And in this particular case, we can now paste in the order reference. And then we hit continue. And then you can see this is the order which comes from the flat file over the AI agent into our SAP system using our existing workflow. This is great because now we have combined non-deterministic workflow with a deterministic workflow, which is fantastic, phenomenal that this is working so good. So let me switch over to my presentation again. And so that was the live demo. So you've seen that this is working. And this is also important for you to have some key takeaways from this session. So what are your key takeaways from today's session? First one is you can build real AI agents with logic apps. You can involve humans in the process at any time. So this is called human in the loop. You can combine deterministic and non-deterministic workflows, as you have seen, and you can use existing workflows as tools. This is super cool. And enterprise integration today is not just technical, it's intelligent. And with this, I want to thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Let's connect on LinkedIn. If you are from Germany, Austria, or from Switzerland, please feel free to join the Aviators Germany community. I've also a YouTube channel where I post some videos about logic apps. And with my friend Adam, we are having a podcast which is all about enterprise integration. And I'm really looking forward to exchanging ideas with you. See you. Bye-bye.